Hey gang, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Cade in week 9 of season 2. In our great what-if scenario on Sega Sports NFL 2K2 for the Sega Dreamcast, in which we try and recreate the Patriots dynasty of the early 20th century, except there is no Tom Brady in this alternate NFL universe. And last week, we thought we were going to face a lot greater challenge than we actually got. You'll recall earlier in the season, the only loss we got to date was a sound drubbing in the hands of the Indianapolis Colts on their home turf at the RCA Dome, or now Lucas Oil Stadium, in Indy. Well, last week they came into our house, except they were missing a key component on offense, being one Edgerrin James, and as a result, we trounced them quite heartily, 34-0. And in the last 2 weeks, we have now outscored our opponents 79-0. Now, you'd think we'd be in a good position record-wise, and we are, and we may be just cruising along for the rest of the season. However, this week, we've got to go out to Oakland by the Bay and take on the still, in 2002 speak, Oakland Raiders. And these are not your average Oakland Raiders, as I'll explain. Let's get into it. So the Raiders in 2002 went 11-5 under first-year head coach Bill Callahan. They'd gotten rid of Jon Gruden. They traded him in the offseason to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in exchange for draft picks that Al Davis wanted to try and keep the team young and competitive. And they brought in Bill Callahan. It was his first year as a head coach. And this team was the classic Raider squad that was on their last legs hoping to win a championship. And like I said, they went 11-5. They won the AFC West. They beat the Jets in the divisional round 30-10. Beat the Tennessee Titans 41-24 for the AFC Championship and punched their ticket to Super Bowl 37. Only problem is they took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their former head coach Jon Gruden, who soundly trounced them in that Super Bowl 48-21. And then the following year, 2003, Oakland fell off a cliff. They went from 11-5 to 4-12. Callahan got fired. And all the veteran talent that they had brought on board pretty much had aged themselves out. And they brought in guys like defensive tackle Sam Adams, who was a beast in the interior line for multiple teams. They brought in Bill Romanowski, who by that point had been playing for almost 15 years. They brought in future Hall of Famer Rod Woodson. He came over after being released from the Baltimore Ravens and their Super Bowl victory. And they even had a Rick Mirer sighting. Yes, Rick Mirer, the second pick in the 1993 NFL draft that gave us Drew Bledsoe. Bledsoe went number 1 to the Patriots, obviously, because we have him still. Rick Mirer went number 2 to the Seattle Seahawks. He played 3 seasons and was pretty much a bust after year 1. But this team also had guys like Tim Brown, future Hall of Famer. Jerry Rice was on this team post his first stop post San Francisco glory. And then they had, along with Rod Woodson in the secondary, they had future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson, a couple years removed from his Heisman Trophy win in college football. And Rich Gannon was the quarterback of this 2002 squad. Not a great quarterback, but he was adequate for what they needed. And that's tip picked off. And we get the ball back immediately. So that was caught, fumbled away, and the fumbleitis continues for the 3rd week in a row. As that was caught, immediately got hit, and Ty Law, future Hall of Famer, scooped that up. So we immediately get excellent field position. 1st and 10, just outside the Oakland red zone at the 20. And if I say Las Vegas at one point or another in this episode, you're just going to bear with me on it. To me, the Raiders still will always be in Oakland, and I discovered football just after they relocated the first time to LA back in the early to mid 80s. And I watched Super Bowl 18, which is the last Super Bowl the Raiders won. Obviously, they'd gone to another one, as I just explained here in 2002. But it took a long time for the Raiders to get there. Now it's taking them even longer to get back, even though they've relocated, like I said, back to Las Vegas. So 3rd and 1 now.
59 really shined on that play, stopping them cold.
Actually, I'd give the whole defense credit, Peter. They all did what they were supposed to, which left room for him to strike.
And the big fullback, Mark Edwards, would get us the yardage we need. So now it's 1st and goal at the 5.
Didn't have to fight very hard to get the first down there.
It was a good, clean run. All at the 5-yard line.
And he's in. Touchdown, J.R. Redmond. Wasn't sure if they were going to let him across the line, but we are on the board 6 points with a little over a minute gone in this first quarter thanks to the fumble recovery. So Miami gave us fumbles, Indianapolis gave us fumbles, Chargers gave us fumbles, everybody's giving us fumbles. And we'll have Vinatieri come on for the point after. And the kick is good. So 3:50 to go, first quarter, 7-0 New England over the Raiders. 7-0. Took all 4 plays, 20 yards, and a minute 2. And no, we didn't worry about passing because, I mean, we were only at 20 yards to go. I figured if we can't run it in, odds of us getting it through the air are not great, especially because this game doesn't really like us doing short yardage situations near the goal line. And that's something that I found in Madden as well, is that the defenses tend to really clamp down on pass plays inside about 10 yards, which you would expect. You expect the defenses are going to be doing their damnedest to make sure that you can't get points through the air from that distance. And another great form tackle again by Ty Law.
Number 85 must have had eyes in the back of his head to make that catch. Seriously, how did he do that, Dan?
I know.
So pick up of 4. It's 2nd and 6.
That was one of the finer catches we'll see today, Dan. It's all about having good hands and a great eye.
Ball on the 25.
Again, taking his time getting up under center. Good run there. Tyrone Wheatley. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Some major yardage to get the first down.
Was never a great running back, but he was one of those guys that every once in a while could bust out a big run and was more of a ground and pound guy than find a seam and take off. And Willie McGinnis found him this time after a gain of only a yard. And the thing about the Raiders has always been, while everybody thinks they, with Al Davis's credo of when in doubt, go deep, the Raiders were a team that was always built on the running game. You go back to the 70s and the John Madden coaching era. Yes, guys, John Madden once upon a time was a football coach and a damn good one. But his whole ethos was, we're going to run the football, and because he had a great offensive line that allowed him to do that with Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, Jim Otto on the left side.
Living on the razor's edge there, Dan. I think it was ill-advised.
That allows a team to be able to go up top when they really want to. Because if you're anticipating the run so many times, Eventually, the defense will clam up, try and run a blitz, free up the receivers, and then you can torch them long. But if you're going to throw a screen out there on the flat, that's not going to work because my guys are no slouches either.
They started off looking a bit sleepy, but they seem wide awake right now.
Having Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy in our secondary, that helps a lot too. So Shane Leckler will punt this away. We'll take it right about the 20. And we only got up to about the 28, 29-yard line, but not bad. Another thing about this Raider team from 2002 is that they were actually really well staffed behind Bill Callahan. They had wide receivers coach Fred Biletnikoff, who was a Hall of Famer who played on Madden's Raiders in the 70s. The Fred Biletnikoff Award in college football goes to the best overall receiver in the sport. That's no coincidence. One of the scouts on the team was Willie Brown, who, if you ever watched NFL films as a kid like I did, Willie Brown had the pick six that sealed the win against the Vikings in the Super Bowl in 76. We're here, the great Bill King, one of the great sportscasters of the era. As Willie picks off his running back, he's the guy who calls him Old Man Willie, and he was in his mid-30s by that point, which nowadays doesn't seem like much. Oh, we threaded the needle there, but found Troy Brown near midfield for first down.
They picked up on the blitz right away, Dan, and I think that was
we got lucky there.
You got that right, Peter.
But also, there was a young assistant coach on the offense on this squad by the name of one Jim Harbaugh. And you look at where he is now, having won a national championship with the Michigan Wolverines, his alma mater, and is now trying to lead the rebuilding efforts in San Diego. Or not San Diego, in Los Angeles for the Chargers. To me, the Chargers are always going to be in San Diego for that same reason the Raiders are always going to be in Oakland. Oh, JR got poleaxed.
That will bring up third and about a foot.
Can we get the playoff before the end of the first quarter? Yes, we can. We broke the tackle and we get the first down and quite a bit more. So we used the run game effectively in that first quarter. We took advantage of the turnover and we're still up 7-0. But now we got to see what we can do going through the air because we've been doing well. But we got to be able to throw it as much as they're going to want to throw it. Tipped. Oh, man, almost picked off. That was a 50-50 ball.
Got a piece of it, but just couldn't get control.
He should renegotiate his contract so they pay him by the finger. Ball on the 38.
All right, we'll see what we can do on this one.
Barely gets it off.
Ah.
Incomplete, and that's the second incompletion.
Smith was right in the way. That's something else that really bugs me about games like this is that
kind of vice-like defense can really squeeze out some bad passes.
Third and 10.
If you're trying to throw over a defensive player,
They pick it up.
The Raiders keep this offense in the hot seat. It's all about
and all of a sudden
maintaining steady
you'll have a
pressure
defensive player just get
every
right in the
play.
way and you just like hit them in the back or something. It's really frustrating and you really throw your rhythm off. Now we're going to have to punt it.
Costello comes in and will punt for the first time this game.
We'll have to see if we can coffin corner this.
It's away.
Oh, this is going to be close.
Stellar punt. Great position positioning of the ball, and he pins them way deep in their own territory.
The Raiders really start this one out
And we
in a
did.
hole.
We pinned them back on the
Forget about
9-yard
the end
line.
zone behind them and
Not
start
great,
moving the
but
football.
still not terrible. I mean, you're trying to get it. Ideally, a coffin corner punt is if you can pin them within the 5. Now, we got them within the 10. I'll take it because they got a long way to go. But Wheatley just tore through everybody and got out of that
Covered a
jam.
lot of ground on that play. That's a
Picked up
great
13 in the
And that
first
gives them
down.
the first down.
It's exactly what I didn't want to have happen.
He couldn't read
And that was almost picked off.
an incomplete pass.
Number 85 managed to tip the football, but could not bring it down. It's all about ball control, Dan.
All on the 23.
All right, so 2nd and 10 at the 22. And Ty Law with another excellent form tackle.
Ty Law did a great job sticking to that defense like flypaper.
They ran out of choice and ran out of room and ended up nowhere. It's now 3rd and
So it's a loss of 2 on that one, so they're going to probably have to go to the air on this play.
takes the hit and takes the
And they found,
The Raiders are going to give away some great
I think that was
field
Tim
position
Brown, but he
here.
didn't get very
Yeah, they're
far. So
probably
it'll be
gonna
4th and
punt it
7 and
away,
off to punt it.
That is going to hurt.
All right, so we gave it to them. They couldn't capitalize on it, so they're going to give it back to us. And now I want to make sure we score before the half.
Great punt.
Good punt. We'll take it to our 25.
Johnson tackles it. Stiff arm. 30.
We broke 1 tackle, but not 2.
The Patriots have had their best moments today when they've moved the football on the ground. They should continue with that game plan.
The Patriots
How perceptive.
on the field after the punt. They're up 7-0. Russell
We'll only pick up 2.
tracks after only a couple of yards. A gain of 2. 2nd and 8. Barely gets it off.
We're going to Johnson, and he's got it across midfield. When in doubt, run the slant.
They brought on the blitz, Dan, but it was no match for this tough, talented offensive line.
Yeah, shutting down the blitz can be murder, but if you're successful, you're just about guaranteed.
And having a better offensive line this season has really, really paid dividends for us. That was something we had to make sure that we shored up in the draft. And Redmond's still fighting for yardage. He's almost halfway to 100. 9 carries, 44 yards.
Ball on the 45. We've reached the 2-minute
And with the
warning.
2-minute warning.
The Patriots
Okay, so 2 minutes to go first half. We're still up 7-0.
Everybody's game, 7-0.
I wanted to run the slant so we'll see what we do here. In the meantime, I'm going to be really interested in how the NFC and AFC championship games go on Sunday. I am bummed
It's picked up. Throws middle, incomplete.
that the Lions got bounced. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. Sadly, I'm not. I've seen that happen too many times over the years.
Ball at the 45-yard line.
You know, the best teams in the league, and that's where everybody gets their conspiracy theories about how the NFL is rigged because they want the Chiefs to win, or they want this team to win, or they want that team to win. And it's like, It's not entirely accurate, because if you're wanting something that's going to give you the best ratings, then you wanted the Lions and the Bills in the Super Bowl, and the league would have done everything they could to make sure that happens, because that's the most compelling storyline. Neither team's won a Super Bowl. Like I talked about last week, the Bills, yeah, they went there in the 90s and went to 4 in a row, but they lost all 4 in a row. And haven't even gotten remotely close to it since. Because they've been stopped every chance they can by the Chiefs. And then the Lions, who have never gone and have been one of the more moribund and snake-bit franchises, the idea that they could potentially be a team that could have gone from being the first 0-16 team in NFL history in 2008, in 15 years potentially being a team that went to and won the Super Bowl. I mean, if you're going to manufacture any sort of storyline, that's the one you want. But the Washington Commanders, give them credit. I mean, Jaden Daniels, he showed up. We go to Lucas. He's got it first and goal to 5. So that's what we're wanting through the passing game.
Despite all the defenders around him.
Clock reads 16.
And now I got to hurry because I didn't realize. Oh, we're going to walk this one in. Touchdown. Right before the half, I said we wanted points on the board. We got 9 seconds to spare. So make it 13-0 with the extra point coming up.
I like that. The joy of 6.
But anyway, I mean, with the Commanders now taking on the Eagles to see who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, I'm hoping that's going to be a good game. It should be a good game. The last time Philly and Washington played each other, it actually was a good game. If I remember right, Daniels had 5 touchdowns in that game. And that would be a hell of a story to cap the year if the Commanders, who had been so bad for so long under the ownership of Dan Snyder, and back when they were still known by their original name as the Redskins, were one of the dominant teams in the NFC East through the 80s and the 90s under Joe Gibbs. I mean, people forget that Joe Gibbs took Washington to 3 different Super Bowl victories with 3 different quarterbacks. He did it with Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, and a guy named Mark Rippon, who we never really heard from again after that.
Got to figure out why their offense isn't working and fix it fast.
So Washington was one of the really proud franchises when I was a kid. In a similar way, you think about teams like the Steelers, and we get the sack right before the end of the half. We go to the locker room up 14-0. We get the ball back to start the second half. Well, we controlled that one pretty well, even though we didn't have massive statistics in that first half. 67 yards rushing, 54 passing. But we did what was required. So honestly, if I wanted to choose out of the final 4 teams who I'd like to see make it to the Super Bowl between Buffalo, KC, Washington, and Philly, if I'm honest at this point, I got to go with Buffalo and DC. I think if the Bills and the Commanders go, I think that could be a really interesting game. And if you're a Chiefs fan, don't come at me with, it's because you hate. It's not that I don't hate the Chiefs. If the Chiefs manage to go and win a three-peat, that's never been done before. Even my Patriots never did that. Nobody's ever done that. Lombardi's Packers didn't do. They won 3 championships in a row, but that was prior to 66 was when they won the first one. And it wasn't officially the Super Bowl until 1966. But Lombardi is the last coach to win 3 in a row.
That will bring up 3rd and short.
But I'm also the sort of person who does not, which is going to sound really hypocritical because I'm obviously playing as my hometown New England Patriots, but oh, I got upended.
And makes a great tackle to push them back.
Tony Bryant played smart and aggressive.
I actually do not have a great fondness for dynasties. I really don't.
Vinatieri lines up for the field goal.
Oh, what the hell am I doing?
From this distance. He has to be...
Call the wrong play.
The Patriots want to talk it over, and they take their first time out.
That's what I want. I want the punt.
Costello will punt for the second time.
Me. I say it would have been, if I managed to hit that field goal, it'd be the greatest field goal ever kicked.
85.
So it'd be good field position for the Raiders at the 50-yard line.
The Raiders have a
We'll
nice
spot
starting point for this
49.
drive. The special
They're
teams
just on their
defense
side of
is
the
in
field.
position.
The Raiders are on the field, and we'll see if their opening drive of this half is more successful. Pitches. Through on the left side. Johnson
Made to force Wheatley out of bounds after picking up a 7.
Ron Wheatley moved the ball significantly on that play. He didn't get the first, but leaves his team in great shape.
Now they've got time for the
But I remember as a
pass.
kid when the Niners went on their dynastic run
The 44-yard
in the 80s, winning 4 in a row. And by the time they won their 4th, I was like, yeah, I'm good with that.
before it got started and forces a loss of a couple of yards.
And then the Cowboys had their run in the early 90s, and as I am absolutely not, never have been, and never will be a Cowboys fan, that run couldn't have ended fast enough for me.
Absolutely. He saw where that play was going right from the snap.
It's 3rd and 5.
And then I have to admit, by the time Brady and Belichick had won Super Bowls 4, 5, and 6, was I thrilled about it? Yeah, I was. Was it one of those epiphanic events that happened when they won their first 3? Not really. Like, I was ready for somebody else to come in and win.
Only in the loosest sense of the word.
More like running in place. Leckler lines up, and this will be his 3rd punt of the game. There's the punt.
I'm pretty sure that's going to go out of the end zone. Oh, geez, it was right at the goal line.
85.
Oh,
Make the tackle on the return.
that's what I get for calling the wrong freaking play again.
Have really got their back up against the wall here. I'd favor a quick pass to give themselves some breathing room.
The Patriots are on the field after the punt. They're up 14-0.
We go to Lucas, and he's got it first down. We get some much-needed breathing room up past the 25, near the... nope, up past the 20 to the 22. Thought we were a little bit further along than that. All right. Come on, Rona, get your head back in the game here. But Redmond, being dependable as ever, just pushing it forward, picking up 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards a carry. That's ultimately what we need.
Ball at the 29-yard line.
There's 1 or 2 minutes to go in the third. 17 carries, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day.
It's 3rd and 2.
Oh, we're going to get a first down, as I'm pretty sure that that's offsides on Oakland. And it is.
Trace Armstrong gets the call for encroaching. Just snuck up a little too much on the ball.
So Trace Armstrong called with the offsides, and he was actually a really good player. He wasn't a Hall of Famer, but he was one of those defensive guys who had a very serviceable career.
Stops him right at the line.
Ryan Phillips is really causing some headaches for his team, Dan. He shut down that play like Elliott Ness closing down a Chicago speakeasy.
Second and 10.
All right, so it'll be 2nd and 10. Got under a minute to go here in the third. We threw it into too much coverage.
Boy, they were both talking in their tin cans, and nobody noticed that the string was broken. No communication whatsoever.
Right you are, Peter. They were way off. They've got to sync up out there. Ball at the 36-yard line. On the gun. Throws middle.
And couldn't find Troy Brown. The problem is when you're throwing into that sort of coverage.
You know, when you can back the other guy into a desperate 3rd and long, you've got.
And you know you've got two guys in Rod Woodson and Charles Woodson. They're not related, by the way. But they might as well be with the way they played. And you're really hoping that you don't get on the wrong side of either one of them, because if they can find a way to pick it off, both of them can take it back to the house and make this a one-score game before you know it.
Better get something going on offense today. They need to make some changes, adjust, do anything to get their offense producing at this point.
The Raiders had their defense.
But if we can keep the offense from being productive,
Offense can score. Currently they trail 14-0.
we'll be in really good shape. But we still have the shutout intact, which means now it's been 93 unanswered points we've posted in 3 games. I don't know how many defenses can claim they've had a run like that. And that gets swatted down. That should have been picked. Laura Malloy, they're on the coverage.
Tossing it away looked like the smart choice to me.
Yeah, I definitely think they would have popped him for the sack otherwise. It's 3rd and about 7.
3rd and 7. Split backfield, man in motion.
Dumps it left. Out at the 32.
And we managed to get the stop. We forced Wheatley out of bounds, 4 yards short.
Frustrated today, both in running and in passing the football. This is a very unhappy coach pacing.
That stopped the clock with 5 seconds to go in the quarter.
Punt of the game.
Luckler's going to try and boot this one. We'll take it at our 13.
Johnson has it.
Breaks one tackle. Up across the 25, and that will end the third. So we go to the fourth, still with the shutout intact, still up 14-zip. And now all we really need to do is just drive downfield, chew up some clock. I'd love to get in the end zone one more time. Not that I expect them to go on a run with the Raiders, but you just never know. And Redmond trying to get moving. Ooh, but we got a penalty here. What is it? Holding on us. And they accept the penalty, so 1st and 20.
Draws the offensive holding call. That'll happen in the course of a struggle. And they're playing pretty clean ball here. They have relatively
So our first penalty of the day.
One thing. They're focused in on this game. Everybody's playing as a team.
Oh, I thought I had the Lucas, but I got forced out of the pocket.
Bledsoe really blew it with that throw. I mean, there were 3 sharks in the water out there.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was a mistake to bunch up the coverage in one zone like that, but apparently they knew just what they were doing. 2nd and 20.
We go to Johnson. Oh, he's got the first down and a bit more. Oh, we needed that completion badly. Huge chunk play to pick up the first down and get us close to midfield.
In the Lincoln Tunnel, but he still managed to make the catch, Dan.
It seemed really risky to throw to him with that much coverage, Peter, but apparently they knew he could get the job done with the right throw. Russell prevents him from going anywhere.
And we don't get an inch on that play.
Airtight defense, Dan. They're not letting a wishful thought get past the line of scrimmage.
I think they're even driving them back a bit, Peter. That is great D.
Yeah, you know, it's moments like this that test your resolve. Will this offense rise to the challenge or slink away?
2nd and 10.
Ah! Redmond got in my way. I knew the pressure was coming. And I was trying to get out of the pocket, and watch what happens. Redmond just keeps me from getting any sort of space. So he just set me up for that sack. So now we're right where we were before, 3rd and 17.
It's 3rd and about 17.
We need another big completion here. And we get it to Brown, but we're still a couple yards short. It's 4th and 2. Now the question becomes, do we go for it? It's 4th and 2. I'm going to play the odds here. And we get it. Mark Andrews. Give the big bruiser the ball, hope for the best, and we got it. So we move the chains, fresh set of downs. We're on Oakland side of the field, and we are chewing up clock with each play, because now we're closing on the 2-minute warning. Busted the outside, 81 yards now on the day for J.R. Redmond.
Have to try and find something to try to stop him.
2nd down, 2 yards to go. All on the 33.
See if we can run the comeback route and get the first down here. We go to Johnson again, and he's got it. And Woodson was all over him. I'm surprised it wasn't an interference call.
Passes to his receivers, and here are the numbers to prove it.
All right, can we get this play off before the 2-minute warning? Yep. And now it's less than 2 minutes to go. It'll be 2nd and 6 inside the Oakland red zone.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Patriots defense is held and the offense has put up the points. So they lead 14-0.
And we got Lucas. He's got a touchdown. So he managed to find the end zone through the air, and with under 2 minutes to go, it's now 21-0.
Can't give him any room, or he's going to score on it.
We got lucky on that one. Threw into double coverage, and his feet were just in the end zone enough for it to count. So Vinatieri will come on for the point after.
The Patriots, after that score, have a comfortable lead, 21-0.
Now, when they played us in Week 11 of the 2002 season, they beat us 27-20. And that was in the middle of a 5-game winning streak that they had. They won 7 of their last 8 games. On their way to the postseason. The only loss they had in that run was to the Miami Dolphins, 23-17 in Week 15. But then they came back, spanked the Broncos 28-16, and then shut out the Chiefs in the finale, 24-0. So, I mean, this was a really good team, but it was the problem with having too many veterans and not enough new guys. And what happened with Bill Callahan was the next year as the team foundered, and everybody jumped the line on that. Who was it on? It was on us. Well, 3 of our 4 linemen jumped the gun. I figured I don't want to be the one left behind.
That ref doesn't miss a trick.
It's now 1st and 5.
But it's always that question of when you have an aging team, when do you start getting rid of the pieces you need to replace and bring in newer talent? And not every team and not every GM is good at it. And there's quite a long list of teams that have tried to rebuild that way and completely imploded. I mean, you can look at the Patriots last year with what they've done under Gerard Mayo. It wasn't that they were terrible. It was that they were not a well-constructed team outside of having a potentially a really good quarterback in Drake May. I'm not about to say he's the second coming of Tom Brady, because a lot of people were hoping the same thing with Mac Jones 2 years ago, and that didn't work.
Dan, but just couldn't make the catch.
I know that's real frustrating when you tip a pass like that, but he's got to make those. Ball at the 43-yard line.
And then, you know, that's when you look at teams like Detroit, that they were so bad for so long and trying to get good talent in. And year after year after year, it was bust after bust after bust. And then they finally got a front office that understood that they could not keep doing it the same old way.
They've got to convert here, and they've got to work fast. Leckler will punt for the 5th time.
And that's where they are now. So now, like, the Patriots have brought in Mike Vrabel. That's going to go in the end zone.
Cherry nabs it off the bounce. Stops the return man in his tracks and makes.
So we got under a minute to go. But as I was saying, I mean, I'm optimistic about the Patriots bringing in Mike Vrabel. I mean, they can't get much worse than they have been under the final year or two of the Belichick regime, and I think it's unfair to Gerard Mayo for what flack he got. I think he was just in over his skis. You know, it was just it. The Patriots last year were not a well-constructed team, and that's part of the legacy of Belichick. In that he was never a great drafter of talent. Drew Blitz, 152 yards passing today. At some point, I would love to get him a 300-yard game, but I think with the fact that we run truncated quarters, it's a lot harder than most people think it is. But we got the first down, and that will be enough as the clock will wind down to 0. We will secure the shutout, and for the 3rd week in a row, we have decisively beaten our opponent, this time against the Raiders, 21-0. So that moves us to 6-1 on the year. There's still no word on when the Colts are going to get back Edgerrin James. I'm going to be curious about that. So now that we take a look at the standings, the Rams are the only team ahead of us with a better record at 7-1. We're tied with the Eagles at 6-1. You have the Jags, the Raiders at 5-3. So the Raiders coming in this weren't doing badly, but we were just able to shut them down. Then we got the Chiefs. The Lions are 4-3, which in the 2002 version of the Lions, they weren't anywhere near that good. We got the Saints, Browns, Chargers, Titans, Buccaneers. Who's at the bottom? Let's see who the worst teams are. Falcons are 0-7. The Jets, being the Jets, 1-7. The Bengals, the Packers, and these are still the Brett Favre Packers in 2002. They're 2-6. The Steelers are 2-5. That's almost unheard of. Pittsburgh is one of those teams that's always in it. I'll be curious to see if and how they turn that around. So, with that out of the way, let's see who we will play next week. And we will face the Buffalo Bills. We go back into conference, taking on our AFC divisional rival, Buffalo, on their turf up in Orchard Park. So that, everybody, is Sports Saturday for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've been enjoying the content on the channel, you know how to show up by now. It's 2025. I don't need to lecture you on how that all works. Be sure to tune in to Sucker Punch Sunday tomorrow, where we play a classic fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Also be sure to tune in to our ongoing playthrough of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden for the PS1 from 2001. We're almost done with it. We've now recorded it down where we've got about 6 or 7 missions left. So by the time we get around to, I'd say about Valentine's Day, I'm hoping we'll have that all buttoned up. We're going to take a slight pause on that, on doing our next playthrough. We've already got it picked out, like I've said. But we're going to do a couple of other different things in the interim. Bring back some one-day playthroughs, some WTF Wednesdays, and then dive back into a new one. And this one is going to come as a long-time subscriber request. So if we do nothing else, we make sure we put out content when you ask for it. This one's been asked for, so just watch this space. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, and we're on RetroCade to help spread the word about us as we continue to build the channel and make it bigger and better. My name is Ronan. It's been great to spend this Saturday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll talk to you tomorrow for Sucker Punch Sunday. Bye.